Most people believe smart individuals are simply born with bigger brains, better memories, or more knowledge. They imagine intelligence as a storage room filled with facts, quick answers, and impressive vocabulary. But that picture is misleading. The real difference is not how much someone knows. The real difference is how they think. It is how they respond under pressure. It is how they handle mistakes. It is how they process problems when everyone else feels overwhelmed. And here is something important. You do not need perfect grades or a high IQ to think like a smart person. You only need to adjust a few habits in the way you use your mind. In this video, I will walk you through 5 powerful thinking patterns that mentally strong people use every day. These habits are simple, they are practical, and if you apply even one of them, you will begin to notice a change in how calm, clear, and confident you feel. Let's start with the first habit. Smart people care more about understanding than about winning. Most arguments happen because both sides want to be right. Someone disagrees and immediately the conversation becomes a battle. Voices rise, defenses go up. Each person tries to prove the other wrong, but intelligent thinkers approach disagreement differently. Instead of attacking, they become curious. They ask calm, open questions. They might say, "Can you explain what led you to that idea?" Or "Help me understand your point of view." Notice the difference. They are not trying to trap the other person, they are trying to learn. And something interesting happens when you ask instead of attack. People relax, they feel respected. When someone feels heard, they are more willing to think openly. Often, while explaining their reasoning, they begin to notice gaps in their own logic. You did not force them to change their mind, they changed it themselves. That is powerful. The goal is not victory, the goal is clarity. Imagine how much stress you would avoid if you no longer felt the need to win every disagreement. The second habit is the ability to zoom out. Most people react strongly to small events because they are standing too close to them. A single failure feels like a final judgment. A rejection feels like proof of worthlessness. One bad day feels like a terrible life. But smart thinkers pull the camera back. They look at the bigger picture. If they fail a test, they do not immediately say, "I am stupid." Instead, they ask, "What can I adjust?" Maybe they need better sleep. Maybe they studied the wrong material. Maybe they need a new strategy. They see patterns instead of single moments. Think of it like looking at one puzzle piece. By itself, it looks confusing, but when you step back, you see how it fits into the full image. Life works the same way. When you zoom out, problems shrink. They become situations to solve rather than threats to your identity. The question shifts from, "Why does this always happen to me?" to "What is this teaching me?" That shift changes everything. When you train yourself to see patterns instead of panic, you begin to move through life with steadiness instead of fear. The third habit is focusing only on what you can control. This alone can protect enormous amounts of mental energy. Many people spend hours worrying about things that are completely outside their control. They worry about other people's opinions. They worry about the weather, future mistakes, or what might happen next month. But worry does not create solutions. It only drains energy. Imagine your mental energy as a battery. Every worry is like an app running in the background, slowly draining power. Smart individuals close those unnecessary apps. They ask one simple question: "Can I control this?" If the answer is no, they let it go. They cannot control whether it rains, but they can bring an umbrella. They cannot control how someone feels about them, but they can control their own behavior. They cannot control every outcome, but they can control their preparation. When you shift your focus toward action instead of worry, you feel stronger. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You start feeling responsible for your choices, and responsibility feels much lighter than helplessness. The fourth habit may surprise you. Smart people are comfortable with silence. Many individuals feel uncomfortable when a conversation becomes quiet. They rush to fill the space. They speak quickly without thinking deeply. But thoughtful people understand the power of pause. Silence creates room for thinking. It shows confidence. It communicates that you are not desperate to impress anyone. When someone asks them a question, they do not rush to respond. They pause briefly. That pause may only be 3 seconds, but it changes the quality of the answer. Try it yourself. The next time someone asks for your opinion, count slowly in your mind before speaking. You will notice your thoughts become clearer. Silence also makes others feel respected. When you truly listen without interrupting, people feel valued, and when people feel valued, they trust you more. Often, the quiet person in the room appears wiser than the loudest one. Not because they know more, but because they choose their words carefully. In a world full of noise, calm silence stands out. The fifth and perhaps most powerful habit is the ability to pause before reacting. Most reactions are automatic. Someone criticizes you and your body prepares to defend itself. Someone cuts you off in traffic and anger rises immediately. Something unexpected happens and frustration appears without warning. Reaction is natural, but intelligence lives in the space between stimulus and response. Smart individuals train themselves to pause. Sometimes it is just one deep breath. In that breath, they create distance between emotion and action. They ask themselves, is this worth my energy? Or what response will lead to the best outcome? This does not mean ignoring emotions. It means managing them. For example, if someone speaks rudely, instead of snapping back, they might respond calmly or choose not to engage. They understand that staying calm gives them control. The loudest person is not the strongest. The calmest person often is. When you pause, you regain power over your decisions. When you react instantly, your emotions decide for you. If you step back and look at these 5 habits together, you will notice something important. None of them require special talent. None of them require high intelligence scores or elite education. They are habits of awareness, asking instead of arguing, zooming out instead of panicking, focusing on what you can control, using silence wisely, pausing before reacting. These are small shifts in thinking, but their impact is large. Over time, these habits reshape how you experience challenges. You begin to see problems as manageable. You begin to feel less overwhelmed. You begin to respond instead of react. Here is what I want you to understand clearly. Intelligence is not a fixed trait. It is not something only a few lucky people receive at birth. It is built daily through small mental choices. Each time you choose curiosity over ego, you strengthen your thinking. Each time you zoom out instead of spiraling into fear, you strengthen your resilience. Each time you let go of something you cannot control, you protect your peace. Each time you pause before reacting, you build emotional strength. You do not need to change everything today. In fact, trying to change everything at once usually leads to frustration. Choose one habit. Practice it consistently for 1 week. Just observe how it affects your conversations, your stress levels, your decisions. Growth happens in small, steady steps. Over time, those steps compound. And one day, people may look at you and say, "You seem calm. You seem wise. How do you handle things so well?" The answer will not be that you were born different. The answer will be that you trained your mind differently. Real intelligence is quiet, it is patient, it is intentional, and now you know how to build it.